Welcome to Friday, December 30th, 2022. Your day weather podcast is being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. Also being brought to you by YDOT. Remember, when there's ice and snow, take it slow. And remember to call 511 to get the latest road and travel information. Lots going on, folks, as we've been talking all week about this Pacific moisture coming into the western United States. It's going to certainly be causing some concerns for holiday travelers. Now, there's good news. There's going to be a copious amount of moisture falling in the mountains of the western United States. In fact, we're not going to be measuring the snow in inches in the high country, but in many of the Rockies to the Sierra Nevada to the Cascades, we'll be measuring the snow over the next 4 days in feet. This is just a very intense pipeline of moisture coming off the Pacific, and it's coming in two waves. Later today, tonight and Saturday, a big wave of Pacific moisture will hit mainly the mountains and areas west of the divide, with windy areas elsewhere. The second wave, which will be the bigger concern for travelers in the region, will come in Saturday night, Sunday into the day Monday, bringing another round of snow. Now, in this pattern, the jet stream winds are very strong, so we're going to have very windy areas, especially near the mountains. Avalanche dangers are going to increase over the entire west. Now, this is a big stretch of weather coming on up at a time frame around this New Year's where there's a lot of skiing going on. There's a lot of snowboarding in the backcountry. There's a lot of snowmobiling going on in the backcountry. Be prepared. We had an avalanche fatality in Colorado the day after Christmas, and the avalanche danger is going to be something over the next week or two that's going to be a concern. So backcountry enthusiasts, pay attention. Combo of Pacific storm system and Canadian air will bring snow and cold to the plains late Saturday night, Sunday into Monday. This is especially true in central and southern Wyoming, parts of northern Colorado, and parts of, in fact, a large part of western Nebraska. Travel concerns will be found during this time frame, Saturday night through Monday into maybe Tuesday. Travel concerns along Interstate 80 are going to be a concern in areas near the mountains and over the mountain passes. This is from the National Weather Service. All the blue and the pink are winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. So you can see all the major mountain ranges. The green you see there in California are flood advisories and flood warnings for more heavy rain in California and heavy mountain snows in the far west. So you can see the whole west is under the gun. Now, before we get to the details, a great shot here from Dave Bell, Fremont Lake, Wyoming. That is a very, very deep lake, and it takes a long time to completely freeze over. But a beautiful shot there. Just the right combination of light and those icicles coming over there. And we're going to see scenes like this in the next week or so, as this Pacific moisture will provide more moisture to the mountain areas. And here you can see it on the satellite loop this morning. That pipeline just continues, and you can see a lot of swirling clouds up into the Gulf of Alaska, up there by the Aleutians. Then you can see on the western edge here, there's another plume, basically a Pacific moisture coming our way. So literally, it's like a fire hose. It's just like somebody standing there in the Pacific pushing a lot of water just right into the western United States. And here's today's 500 millibar chart. The system that brought the front range snow in Colorado is moved out now and moving off to the east. And we're going to have this strong westerly flow developing this weekend. Now, this is for Saturday. And what will happen is this next low comes into the west coast, and a very strong and energetic jet stream, which is very moist, will go from California into the Rockies, pushing literally what it is. It's just a physical forcing of moisture from the Pacific right into the mountains. That air gets forced up the mountains, and this is where you see a lot of snowfall in the high country. And this is really going to be true west on the western slopes. This is where the western mountains and the western side of the mountains will get the heaviest snow. The eastern side of the mountains get a little bit less because there's a bit of a snow shadow. And that Pacific pipeline is just coming on in. Now, this is for round one. This is the round of precipitation that falls in the west from today, later today, through Saturday evening. So you can see it's getting to the Continental Divide and west of the Divide, not much east of the Divide. But there's this axis of very heavy moisture right here that goes across central and northern California, right down Interstate 80, and into the areas along and west of the Divide in Colorado, Wyoming, and all across the Pacific Northwest. But you can see this brighter area of colors right here that is really associated with this first plume of deeper moisture coming on in. So that's round one. The next round comes in Sunday into Monday and really gets started Saturday night into Sunday with a low near four corners. And this is going to do a couple of things. It's going to start to produce upslope winds along and east of the divide. It's also going to tap into some colder air. If you notice those little wind barbs up there, we've got a northerly flow coming into Montana and Wyoming and Idaho by then. That's going to get things going to bring a lot of this Pacific moisture over the divide and then onto the plains. This is round two. This is separate from the first round I showed you. So you can see there's this axis again going through some of the same spots the first one did. But also notice that we're going to get this slug of snow coming over the divide and out into the central and southern areas of Wyoming, into northern Colorado, then across Nebraska. Basically, this will cover the whole I-80 corridor from Iowa to California before it's all said and done. Now, if we focus in, look at the high country of Colorado, look at the high country of southern Wyoming, but look at the Wasatch, 3 inches of water coming on in with this. This is why we're talking feet of snow up into the mountains. And if we were to focus in a little bit closer on the snow amounts, now again, as I always tell you, you got to take these amounts with a grain of salt. They always over forecast. But you can see the dark pink areas there, and then the purple areas showing the higher mountain areas where the deeper snow cover is going to be piling on up. You can see 47 inches of snow right here in the Wasatch, a lot of 20s here in Colorado, some 30s in Wyoming, 20s and 30s elsewhere. So this is going to be along I-25 into Wyoming and Colorado, then all of Interstate 80, I-70 across the mountains of Colorado, and then out into the plains. This is why we have concerns. If you're going to be traveling this holiday weekend, especially late Saturday through Monday, you're going to have to allow some extra time, especially in these areas where the extensive area across the whole central and western United States where the storm is going to have an impact. And there you can see on a larger scale, this is through Wednesday of where the snow impacts are going to be the highest and where the road conditions are likely going to be the worst. We talked about avalanche danger. Now, I want to point out that there are some resources to go to in the region, at least close to home. We've got the Colorado Avalanche Center in Colorado. We got the Utah Avalanche Center, and we got the Bridger-Teton Avalanche Center in the Jackson Hole area. So you can see in Colorado, we already have where you see those exclamation points. That means an avalanche watch is in effect. In Utah, we already have considerable or high avalanche danger. This is before the snow comes. And then the Bridger-Teton is already in considerable avalanche danger around the Jackson area. And this is before we get these 2 waves of snow coming on in. One thing that really is important in avalanche forecasting is changing temperatures, which we've had. We've gone from Arctic to Pacific. We've had a big swing in temperatures. We're also going to see very heavy snows fall on top of a crusty snow because of those changing temperatures. And then we're going to have a lot of wind with the snow. That's going to cause snow loading, or basically drifting, which accumulates a lot of snow in spots, and those spots then become very unstable, and then you get your avalanches. So it goes without saying, if you're a backcountry person, make sure you're prepared. Have yourself a great day. We will update you sometime this weekend. I don't know what day. Watch Day Weather YouTube channel for more information, as we'll send out a short update on this weekend system. Have yourself a Happy New Year.